Well, I hope you have your cocktail ready or your mocktail, and you are joining us for the hottest happy hour in STL right here on the In Your City show. Welcome. Have some fun with us. It is the In Your City show, and we're celebrating the arts, creativity, and a little spooky fun in St. Louis as well.
I love that.
Yep, we are going to be welcoming Katy Enrique from the City Museum, one of St. Louis's most iconic attractions. Gordon, you said you haven't been there. That is going to be one of our next field trips. I cannot
should
believe
be.
it. Even
How
have
do you live in
children.
St. Louis and not go to the City Museum?
Because you spent too much time traveling and singing to people on stage and you missed out. So she is going to take us inside the new Labyrinth exhibit, and she's going to give us a peek at City Nights, adults only. Maybe we'll have to attend that. Maybe that'll be your experience going to the City Museum, and then some Halloween fun going on. Then we're going to talk Dance St. Louis. They mark their 60th anniversary. That's quite incredible. I mean, that is a long time, and one of only 4 dance-only nonprofit presenters in the U.S.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that really is. So we're going to talk to Michael Uthoff. Of course, don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
I'm sure
that's what I do best, say things wrong. He'll let us know. So it's all going to be about artistry, history, and playful spirit that makes our city of St. Louis shine. So we have had like a really busy week with birthday and 9/11 stuff, and we went out to dinner at Basso's. I mean, we went to the NASCAR race, which that was a new NASCAR. I kind of want to put a Z in there, kind of like Clausent.
And you know what? You know what other people do, and I know, and you do it, and I've noticed people say it before. So we have the Recplex. It's RECPLEX, but so many call it the Rex. Plex.
Yeah, with like an X.
You do that.
Do I say Rexplex?
You go Rexplex.
It's easier for me. Thanks for pointing out my faults. Good. Thank you very much. I'm going to go now, and you can handle the rest of the show.
I've got plenty of faults.
Oh, no, I mean, we really have. It has just been on and on and on of so many things going on. And September is quite a busy time. Seems like that fall, I don't know if it's going into that new season, but there's so many fun things to do.
Oh, I know. I had my first pumpkin spice coffee the other day. We're at Starbucks.
Not your first ever, just you.
No,
you
for the year.
Pumpkin taste.
You know, the inaugural first pumpkin spice of the year.
And then I am sick of seeing pumpkin stuff after that.
I know. Then you go to home. We were at Home Goods yesterday, and they had all the pumpkin spice candles out.
And I didn't even want to get one. I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of like when you see Christmas coming out right now. Like, what? You just took summer away from me. I'm not ready to see Santa over in the corner.
Too bad. I mean, Halloween stuff did come out, about 3 weeks ago?
You love the Halloween stuff.
I do.
I like a pretty pumpkin patch. Not even a pumpkin patch. I mean, I like the pretty Halloween fall decor. Gordon wants to put like skeletons and Frankenstein and all that stuff out into our yard.
Actually, I would love to have, how they have like Home Depot and everybody now. So we live in Newtown, and Halloween is off the charts. Oh
my gosh, if you've not taken a drive through,
we're going to take some video this year. We're going to show it to you on our show. But it's incredible. I mean, it's nothing like it. They actually bus people into our subdivision on buses. I'm not exaggerating.
Okay, guess how many people we have at our door on Halloween? Okay, you guessed. 1,000 kids. Our neighbor did the clicker.
Yeah, we had 1,000.
That's 1,000. We literally have a tub, like a major where you pack up storage filled with candy. We have one neighbor that gives everybody a big candy bar.
They give them the big full-size candy bars. Can you imagine how expensive that is to give out almost 1,000 candy bars?
You do a pretty good job of decor on Halloween. We get the big movie playing and that. But so we had lots of fun things going. Lots more fun things are going on. And I'm ready to go ahead and find out about the City Museum. Are you?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do it. Let's welcome Katy Enrique to the show from the City Museum. As we do, we just go like this. Boop. Hi. Welcome to the show. We had the pleasure of getting to meet you. We actually had Dave Glover on the cover of our men's issue for June. It's from June. Summer's over, and we were out at the City Museum to do the photo shoot.
Yep.
It was so much fun. I think he was having fun too, hanging from things, and the pictures just turned out beautiful. Was it John Lohr was our photographer?
Yes.
That was out there, and he did an incredible job. The color was just great, and it worked out perfect with Dave, with the type of person that he is. It was just a really cool area or I guess backdrop to put him in for the
we
photos.
can give them, you know, warm tones, cool tones, industrial. Like there's so many looks that you can get.
Absolutely,
it's a great place to shoot.
And I think he was on the cover of our Chesterfield City Lifestyle, right? Yep, it was Chesterfield on there. We have St. Charles and Clayton City Lifestyle, but that's the fun thing about what we get to do. We get to either with our magazines or out at that business getting to shoot and do things there, or people like you come into the studio and we get to meet you and talk about great things happen in the city. So for someone that hasn't walked into this 600,000 square foot, 10-story building, which I was talking to you earlier, I was excited to find out. I didn't realize that it's actually was an old, I said shoe factory, but you said a shoe warehouse. Who knew that it was transformed into this playhouse for children and adults?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you walk into the building, I suppose, you know, the only thing that really might give it away is once you get into the cave system and you look up at the spiral slides. Those spiral slides are where the shoes were transported from upper floors down to the lower floors.
Really?
And then when you look up the staircase, the balusters that spin, that people like to kind of run their hands around and spin them, those were on the conveyor belt as part of that system of, again, moving inventory.
I wish I would have known that. I mean, we were all about the shoot and getting him. I didn't really get the tour of it, knowing that how you repurposed items from the shoe factory.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that were in the building have been repurposed. The pan wall that's around the, you know, the first floor bathrooms, those were in the building when it was acquired. And you know, Bob Castle always said anything was a brick if you had enough of them. So if he had enough of anything, that's how you see lots of walls that are glass bottles, these pans, printer plates, all sorts of that kind of style throughout the museum.
So with 10 stories and all the square feet, and I was just there recently, so got to see all the anything new updates and that. Did it just start out, like, did it get opened with all of these stories and all these areas, or has it slowly kind of been built up to the way it is with renovations?
Yeah, you know, I think it was slowly built up. You know, I'm not a native St. Louisan. I've been here 8.5 years or so, and, you know, came from Chicagoland. And the first thing people told us, like, when you get there, you have to go to the City Museum. And we said, what is it? And like a lot of St. Louisans say, they're like, no, I'm not giving it away. You just have to go see it for yourself. You know, so when I started working there, it's learning all sorts of stuff about the space and how it sort of came to be. And when Bob and Gail purchased it, they really were looking for a place to do big sculpture. And so it's this big empty warehouse of a building. It can hold heavy material. Bob could do really big sculpture work in there and kind of started from there. And then as he pulled in more crew and more team and started building and becoming more of an artistic space and yet a space he wanted people to very much touch and play and climb and crawl on, it sort of morphed into this whole city concept. The idea is that it's a city within the city, and that's why it's named City Museum.
So is there any unused space that that's continuing that you're thinking about using to create more?
I mean, the Labyrinth is actually a perfect example. So Labyrinth opened this July, and it was the largest expansion we've had on the 4th floor. So a lot of people, when they come to City Museum, very familiar with the 1st floor, familiar with that 2nd floor aquarium, familiar with the 3rd floor that has the giant pencil, the skateless park area, Beatnik Bob's. And then they get up to the 4th floor, and that's sort of the little door to get into the spiral slides, but Labyrinth sits on the back side of that. So it's a whole nother massive area that nobody really even knew that we were expanding into, because you really don't have eyes to it until you get into it.
What is the space? What will someone experience walking into this?
Yes. So the goal of Labyrinth is, you know, lose yourself to find your path, if you will. We don't like dead ends at City Museum. So every space that you can walk into, there's another way out, which is sometimes what makes it a little challenging for parents with little kids. Because they're like, oh, I'm in this room, I'll stand at the door.
Right?
And then they don't realize there's a slide or a hole in the floor or a spiral staircase they could take somewhere else. So when you get into Labyrinth, you can take it, you know, 3 ways. You can crawl through it if you want. We have little mouse holes you can go through. You can climb it, lots of climber experiences in there. Or you can just walk it, just as like a normal maze pathway. And then inside Labyrinth is the museum's 3rd largest active slide. So it slides from Labyrinth down into the 2nd floor aquarium.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah. All right, tell about, okay, so this is this fun area here with for the kids to enjoy. How about adults?
Yeah, we have some really amazing programming now for adults. We sort of realize that
we want to have fun too.
You want to have fun too. And also I tease that nobody wants it with like the pressure of a 6-year-old behind you telling you to go faster because, you're sort of exploring the space and it's hard material and you're probably not used to sliding and climbing and crawling as much in your adult years. So yeah, we do city nights now once a month on a Friday night where we close the museum to the general public at 7, reopen it at 7 o'clock till 11 for our 21 and up crowd. And we always have live music or a DJ. We have crafts that people can do and usually has like a theme overlay onto it. That's just something added to the fun part of the event. So our member pass holders, if you buy like a season pass to City Museum, it's free for our 21 and up pass holders, or you can purchase a ticket for the.
Is there alcohol involved in this 21 though?
Yeah, we've got
Gordon's in now.
No, I'm just thinking, I'm saying, a bunch of drunk adults trying to climb on stuff, and that's got to be pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, so we have our cabin in bar, our beatniks, and the rooftop is typically open as well, so long as there's no weather. So yeah, people can grab a drink. But I find like once they're out, like exploring, they're not anchored to the bar. They're like, let's grab a drink and then let's go and kind of explore and wander and see. A lot of adults haven't been there since they were maybe kids themselves, or it's just been a long time. And so sometimes their memories of how they explored as a kid is now different.
So do you ever get one that's had a little bit too much alcohol that you can't get down from something and you just got to go, come on?
Our team is very good at coaching people.
Yeah. Okay, tell me about the big undies. Where did those come from?
So those are actually when beatnik.
How big are they?
Yeah, I was gonna say they are big. They're the entire backdrop of our beatnik. They're so fun. And they were, brought into Beatnik Bob's as just sort of this crazy anchor piece to that space, because that space is so like cool and kitschy. And then I don't know if you remember last March of 2024 on 314 Day, we decided to try to break a Guinness World Record of most people wearing underwear on their heads.
Oh my
gosh.
And
we bought underwear that looked like the giant pair of underwear, and basically had 300 and some participants end up participating, and we achieved that goal. So City Museum is the holder of the Guinness World Record of most people wearing underwear on their heads.
So many fascinating happenings there at the City Museum. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right, we were just talking about, before we were able to start talking to you, we were talking about Halloween, of course.
Yeah.
And fun things going on there. You have a lot of Halloween activities that are going on at the City Museum. Tell us about that.
We do. We are fully in the Halloween game now, if you will. So we host Fright at the Museum, and this is a month-long event. So we start this October 1st, and it runs through October 26th. So it's Wednesdays through Sundays through the entire month. And we have decor everywhere. Right now, we've been pulling all the decor into the museum and getting it placed. We also have a big live show in our auditorium, and that is featuring like a fire performer, and then it will also have sort of like sideshow acts. So think of those people that like pound nails into their nose, or like swallow swords, that kind of stuff. So
kind of old school circus type.
Yeah, we're not jump scare, run, gore. Yeah, we're a little more oddity, curiosity to fit a little bit more of the City Museum feel. And then we have like a witch that will do storytelling with kids. We'll have some wandering like ghouls characters this year, and we're going to have a seance room this year. So it's all month long. We're a great place, especially like if you want to go do haunted houses and such at night. The museum is actually, we've got blackout curtains up, so it's much darker during the day, so you can kind of get some of that feel during the day and then still go enjoy your nighttime activities later on.
Well, the City Museum is definitely one of the most visited attractions in St. Louis. Tell us about the bus at the top, because I'm pretty sure that someone told me that was their bus when they were a kid.
Yeah, we see it pop up on social media. Like whenever we post something about the bus, somebody's like, that's my school, or that was my school, or that was my bus. Like definitely people comment on it all the time.
Can you imagine watching that get placed at the top? I mean, obviously you weren't here, you were in Chicago at the time.
Yeah.
To see that bus getting placed at the top of that building must have been quite an attraction for the neighborhood to be watching that.
I think what happened a lot with, Bob and his crew is when something really like amazing or big arrived, it was like all hands on deck, let's get it somewhere and get it ready to go for people to see and enjoy. There was not like, okay, let's go tuck that away and like maybe draw up a plan for it later on. It was sort of always like, go, 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 move, 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 and let's keep building something interesting and and visually interesting. I mean, you never see anything like that, right? I mean,
Right.
when we first went to City Museum, we're like, oh, now I know why people told us, like, don't look it up, because there's just so much feast for the eyes, even just pulling up to the place.
So if someone was going to spend time at the City Museum, how much time would you say they need to allocate to have to get the full experience?
Yeah, I would say, like, we like to tell people, like, at least 3 hours gets you like a good amount of time on average, I would say. Now, if you're somebody that's like, nope, I'm going to want to do everything in the caves, I'm going to try to find every single slide, I'm going to climb every climber in the space, do the entire front monstrosity area all the way up to the rooftop. We definitely have guests that are like, we spent 6 hours there and I feel like we still didn't see it all. But I would say on average, 3 hours is probably what people could generally get themselves around.
And you
around
were
the space.
talking about an attraction where they could be on one floor and slide to another. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
So just as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
how do you keep track of your children? I'm one of those, my grandkids call me Safety Nana. How does one do that? Let's say
Yeah.
with a child, and maybe the parent is not able to slide
Yeah.
down or follow them.
Yeah, it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
And I have twin daughters, so when we moved here, they were
Oh my
8
gosh,
and
you
a
have
half.
two at the same time
Yeah.
in there.
They were 8 and a half, but we were just like, to stay together. Like, that was sort of our first rule, is it's good for you to come with like other kids or other families and friends, because then at least kids generally tend to stay together. And
See
then there's
parents running.
Yeah, right.
I'll be there in a minute.
And then there's only really one in and out of City Museum. So a
Sure.
lot of times they end up, if a kid separates from a parent, they just kind of make their way down. And if they haven't found one of our team members at that point, they get themselves to the front desk, and we have people write their kids' phone numbers on the wristband if the kid doesn't know it.
Idea.
And then we're just calling them. And we try to tell parents as they come in, like, when you separate from your child, it's okay. We've got a whole process for this. Like, try not to get mad at them. They didn't do it on purpose.
No,
They
it's
didn't
too
go down a slide
exciting.
knowing they were going to be, 2 stories away from you at that point. Because I know when we first separated from the girls, we were sort of freaking out. And of course, they come out and we're like, where did you go? So I try to tell them, like, don't get mad at your kid. If we have a solution, we'll get them we'll get them all reacquainted. And for the most part, we really don't. And we don't have any like lost children. We just sort of have like, there's a little gap of time in there. Yeah.
Do you have also the ability for children with special needs?
Yeah, I would say it depends on, honestly, like what a child has needs for. We do work with Easter Seals Midwest, and we do an event with them every January where they do a morning time with the museum where all the music is off. It's a controlled number of people in the museum. They bring all their volunteers out, so if kids need any sort of special assistance, they're there to help. And we're always open to those sorts of partnerships with organizations that want to do something very specific to a group of kids that may have a hard time coming to City Museum on a regular Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We also encourage some people that when they reach out to us, that these are also the times where it's a little quieter. Kids are back in school. So if you've got flexibility to come like on these weekdays or sort of these Sundays when school's in session, the museum is a lot less, humming with like chaotic energy. It's
Sure.
a little bit more quiet, a little bit easier to do with kids that maybe have a hard time with a lot of the noise.
And I guess it changed with seasons. Like you have Halloween come up. Is there something to look forward to? Have you planned already ahead that what will be happening for the holiday season?
Oh yeah, we do also Weirdly Wonderful Holidays, which runs from basically the Friday after Thanksgiving all the way through winter break. So I think this year that's for most kids January 4th. And we have a Santa that's in town, and our Santa's a little different. He's more of a workshop Santa, so he's working. He doesn't sit and take pretty pictures with you in his robes. He's in his workshop and he's working, and that's it's a differentiator of City Museum, is that it's an active building, it's a working building, it's a builder's building. And so we have that, and then we also have Mrs. Claus there, and she'll do storytelling and that kind of stuff. But then the whole museum will be decorated with different lights and different setups in there as well. So it's really cool.
And also on some of those floors or certain distinguished floors, people are able to have special events there too, right? Or weddings?
Yes, we host a ton of event rentals.
What a beautiful place to have a wedding.
Yeah, and people do some really cool things.
John Lohr, who did the photography, that was where he had his reception.
Yes.
All of a sudden it just hit me. I was so excited to be back where his reception was.
I was at the City Museum once. I DJ'd a wedding there when I had my DJ company.
So you were
But I
there.
no, I
but you didn't
wasn't.
get to experience
I didn't
it.
get to experience any of the cool
Yeah.
stuff. It was just in that
Into the room,
into the room,
play the
up
music.
the freight
I was
elevator,
gonna
and
say,
into
did
the
you get
room.
the freight?
Yeah.
A little bit you got to experience it. Yeah, that's so cool
Yeah.
to remember, talking about that as
Yeah.
well. So for you being there, what's one of your favorite areas that you just love to walk through and you're inspired every time?
I love monstrosity, which is, the front exterior of the building. So my office, I luckily get this really great view of all of monstrosity. And so you can see people, they almost look like hamsters going through these tunnels up in the sky. And then they're going through the airplane out there. They're out on the castle. Like people walk out there with such like a look of like amazement and wonder that whenever I'm like manager on duty, I'll go out there and walk those and climb the castles. Because one of them has like a little dungeon room in the bottom, which I didn't realize until like 6 months working there because I had not made it out to the far castle and gone down to the lower level of it. I love monstrosity because it's almost like you don't take the same path twice. There's so many different pathways to that space.
Wow, what an incredible place to be able to have fun
Yeah.
on a date night or to be able to bring the kids. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. So if someone wants to do that, I heard you mention you can get memberships. There
Yep.
are season type
Yep.
passes, or you can just buy a ticket for the day. How does that work?
Yeah, so we'll have different sale events on this side of the year for 2026. So we're selling 2026 member passes right now. So I would say watch for those windows of time during October. We'll probably have a spooky pass sale. We like to do things around the holidays because people like to give them as gifts as well. And then towards the end of the year around winter break time.
Oh, what a great idea for
Yeah.
a gift.
And then it's good all the way through December 31st, 2026. So it's got a really nice long shelf life to it. And
What comes with
unlimited
a
visits.
membership pass?
Yes, unlimited visits. You get rooftop access. You get 10% off on discounts, merchandise and food in the museum, and you get some bring a friend tickets.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Katy Enrique from the City Museum. You must check it out for yourself. Have a great time, whether you want to just come by yourself and experience an unbelievable, I guess, fun for yourself. I mean, I absolutely loved being there. I didn't get to experience all of the fun, unique, different rooms, but just being there, I felt just kind of uplifted and it brought a smile to my face, and it was colorful.
It's pretty incredible to work somewhere that every St. Louis is pretty darn proud of it. So like that's a very unique space to get to work at where you see people host all their out of town visitors and their conventions come in because St. Louisans have said, oh, our convention's coming to St. Louis this year. We need to do our welcome reception at City Museum. Like
That's
everybody's
very
going to
nice.
want to see it. Like it's really incredible to work for a place that St. Louisans just love so much.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your space for our gorgeous photo shoot. That was
you're
fun as well. So check it out for yourself. Gordon, we're going to make a day. Go to the City Museum. Let's
Yes.
go down the slide.
We won't make
one
a
floor
DJ.
next, and I'll try not to be nervous when I can't see you. All right. Coming up next, we're going to find out about another great happening here in St. Louis, which we're, one of only 4 that's part of that, and that is Dance St. Louis. So stick around, fill up your drink, whatever it is you need to do, and be right back with the In Your City show. Thank you, Katy.
Thank you.
All right, we are back with the In Your City show. Thanks so much for tuning in with us. We had a great interview with Katy Enrique with the City Museum, and now we're going to change it up. We're going to be speaking to the artistic director, Michael Uthoff.
Correct.
Okay, he is with Dance St. Louis, which, how exciting. It marks the 60th anniversary. That's absolutely incredible. And then also, a lot of people might know that Dance St. Louis is one of only 4 dance only nonprofits in the U.S.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Well, that tells you how times have changed.
Yeah.
One, that we've been lucky enough that in the Midwest an organization such as Dance St. Louis has survived this long. And secondly, that the climate is so precarious that those of us who are still struggling are only 4 in the country. Unless you get the backing of universities or something else, it's just very difficult and a very expensive business.
Yes. It's a very unique legacy that you are carrying on. And
Oh yeah, I mean, I think what Annalisa Mertz decided to do in 1962 was the seed of something that has bloomed everywhere. And at that time, there weren't that many people even attempting to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And her main goal was, at that point, simply to bring the the artistry of one particularly American contemporary choreographer, Alvin Nicolai. And the idea flourished in such a way that everybody thought, well, why one? Why not 10? And eventually it outgrew her and outgrew her own, vision for the thing, and it became a major, major presenter.
That's incredible. So tell us a little bit, for people who don't really understand or know what Dance St. Louis is, why don't you give us a little background about that? And honestly as well, where does your creativity as an artistic director, where are you coming from, Michael, being part of Dance St. Louis?
Well, the easiest way to explain how I came to be would be unemployment, but that's not quite right.
Yes.
I mean, I had a career for many years. Matter of fact, I was born into dance, although I didn't participate in dance until I was 17 and a half. Came to New York, studied at Juilliard and the School of American Ballet, danced with the Joffrey Ballet, became a principal dancer, danced with the Jose Limon Dance Company, which was a major modern dance company. Got bored with all of that, toured with a small group, went around the world. I then married, and with a kid, I decided to settle down. So I went and founded the Hartford Ballet. I did that for 20 years, and went to Arizona for 15 years. Then they called me from Argentina, which was a big mistake, and I went there. And then Sally Bliss, who had been my predecessor, and I had danced together at the Joffrey, and we were doing a project together. And then she said, I'm going to be leaving. Why don't you come to St. Louis? And I think with all your background, with everything you've done, this would be a terrific job for you to do. And I thought, she's right. It's something that I like. It's something that I can look at dance, not like this, but like this, look for everybody. So then I began to think of myself almost like a curator. And in a way, what I try and do, which each season is like, we're seated here. You're here, there's a light over there, there's a clock over there, there's something over here. Well, I try and do that with the season. And I show you, this is one thing you can look at, this is another thing you're going to look at. So that you sit in this museum, which is Dance St. Louis, and you enjoy it for 4 or 5 shows a year.
Your background is so impressive. I want to go back to you.
Yeah. I want to know, so what is it like for you? So you come to St. Louis. What is the difference between all the places that you've been? I'm sure there's different. I mean, because just like, let's say, for example, we live in St. Charles and we go to St. Charles. St. Charles is totally different than Midtown St. Louis.
Yes, it is.
And is it the same way with dance? And when you go to different areas and different cities and different countries, what is that like? What is the what am I trying to say?
The culture, the
culture, yeah, of the dance.
I mean, I had a different position in all those others. Once, in New York, I was an interpreter and a dancer, and I looked at all the dance, and I got involved with all the great artists that there were. Then when I moved out of New York, I became a producer. I created dance, trained dancers, built choreography and things like that. With Dance St. Louis, it's a little bit simpler than that, because what I have to look is a panorama of what's available out there to give to the audience. When I came here, my predecessors, especially Sally Bliss, really had done a tremendous job. Much of the great works had been presented. But then the economy collapsed. We started getting all the recessions happening, and 2008 collapsed. So now all of a sudden, then COVID came in.
I was going to say.
And then we're like, screw you. And now the big problem that we're facing, and that everybody else in the country is facing, is that everybody's trying to make up the losses of COVID. Right. And we as a presenter are taking the burden. All of a sudden, these artists, whom we know personally, who always we could afford, now all of a sudden, well, we want this much money. And I said, well, then stay home. Because I can't afford to pay them.
Right.
So we have to make, it's a different kind of bargaining position, and having, in a way, not to throw flowers on myself, but having such an extended career, makes me available. Makes me able to reach to all these people on a one-to-one basis and not put up with any crap.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like what they're saying, I tell them, and they tell me, but that's okay.
Well, congratulations again on 60 years and your impressive background that has led you to be part of Dance St. Louis, which is amazing. Give us a little sneak peek about into the 4 presentations that are planned.
Well, one of the things, celebrating the 60th anniversary, we wanted to do something I wanted to do, and which I've always felt, having though I wasn't born. Well, I was born in America, contrary to what Mr. Trump would say. Chile is in America, so I'm an American. But I wanted to show something of what the culture of American dance was all about. And American Ballet Theater, which we opened in November with American Ballet Theater Studio Company, is one of the first major American dance companies established in 1939. And they reflected an entire new culture that they brought around the entire country, traveling by train, by bus, by donkeys, and everything. They went everywhere, and they became now the National Ballet Company. So we're presenting a piece of that, and that's a piece of Americana. Then we're bringing Momix in. Momix is it's what makes America great, but really what makes America great, because this is an individual that has taken everything that there is great about our art form and develop a world of its own and imagine a new world, almost like a Cirque du Soleil, but it isn't Cirque du Soleil. It's much more approachable. So his production of Alice in Wonderland will bring that in context with the idea of bringing American dance to St. Louis. And finally, in April, we bring in Alvin Ailey too, which is a fixture of American dance all over the world. And they're going to be bringing all the works. But what we thought we would do slightly different, we commissioned a new work from them. And they created a new work for their repertory. And we asked them that they entertain using the music of Chuck Berry, who is a St. Louis-based artist, and is also celebrating his centennial, which they're doing. So that particular work will premiere here in April. And we finally close the season with something that we've been doing for almost 20 years called Spring to Dance Festival. And Spring to Dance Festival is a kind of a potpourri of different varieties of dancers that are presented over 2 evenings. We do like 24, 25 different acts, and they are given to the audience for a very nominal fee. The idea is that come in, don't be threatened. It doesn't cost you very much. If you don't like it, close your eyes. The next thing is going to be better. And working like that and develop something that in some ways has been very impactful for St. Louis, both in the dance world and here and outside of it.
So for someone that is new to dance, you just talked about, the 4 presentations that are planned. They're new and they've never experienced Dance St. Louis. What would be your performance this season that you would say, this you shouldn't miss?
Since I built the program so that you wouldn't miss all 4, I couldn't tell you one because they're so varied, so totally different. Each work will capture your imagination. So if you want to venture into one of them, come in, unafraid. You will have something very special about dance. And I couldn't tell you which one. Now, Alvin Ailey would be the easiest one to say because it's such a popular show. It's such a world-renowned thing, and it's such appealing to the soul that everybody flocks to it. It's always sold out.
How has it changed from when you were in dance, of course, and you had your child, which it turned you into another direction? Children do that, don't they? What have you seen the change in the world of dance since you began to where it is right now?
Well, I think I was very lucky. I came into the dance world in a time when there was a lot of change about to happen. There had been a group of people that had worked through the 20s, 30s, and 40s into the 50s, creating a new world of dance, and they've aged. And then over in the 60s, when I showed up in New York, we were the new generation that was working with these incredible gods of dance that had made the path for us. So we were the Johnny Appleseeds. We took whatever they told us, and then we decided the world is our apple. Everybody went to New York because they thought that was the apple. Well, we'll take the apple to the world. And many of us left New York to try and produce dance in different ways. And that's why you have the booming thing about how many dance schools are all over the country and how many dance companies there are. Now, having said that, you can say, not everything was good. Some things were not very good that were produced at such. The quality wasn't there. It needed to develop. But so in a way, we have a real dichotomy in that there is more opportunities for young people, but there are so many young people now that they have more problems than we did.
Oh gosh,
what advice would you give to a young person you got into dance at 17, right?
Yeah.
What advice would you give today's 17-year-old that wants to get into dance in today's world.
They start out
A
younger.
17-year-old. Well, to realize that it's not going to be easy because.
Or should they start earlier?
It's a lot earlier.
Yeah, no, you should start way early because those 17-year-olds today are doing things that.
They're traveling
I'm
the world
lucky
already.
I danced when I did. I couldn't do what some of the kids do today, but the difference that I had and what I tell everybody else is I knew about dance because of my family background. I understood it, though I wasn't at that point in love with it. And when I began to practice it, I understood where I had to go with it. So I didn't waste my time. And at the same time, I strive for the quality of the work and not just the physicality of it. And not just to look good, but to see how can I expand it? How can I be greater than the total of sums of things that were happening? So if you really have that passion, I would say learn about dance, learn what you like, focus on who you want to do, and then aim for that and give yourself the chance to make it happen. But don't waste time if it's not happening.
Sure. Right.
I told my daughter when she went to dance, I said, go anywhere for 2 years. But if it isn't happening, don't bang yourself against a wall.
Right.
Get the hell out of there and go somewhere else.
Exactly. Well, Dance St. Louis has long been known as the gateway to world dance, which is quite incredible. Michael Uthoff, we can't appreciate enough you coming in here and bringing us the beauty of dance and reminding us how wonderful it is to be able to see one of Dance St. Louis presentations. I mean, it's incredible to think 60 years, and congratulations to the success that Dance St. Louis, and that it's right here in our city of St. Louis, one of only 4. So we look forward to it. I hope that I get to sit in the audience and experience this gorgeous art form of individuals dancing beyond anything I could imagine making my body do. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in the show.
Definitely need to check out Dance St. Louis. It's just a beautiful art form that you don't want to miss. And we appreciate that we are part of their 60 years getting to present that to you. So with that, we are going to take it to a whole nother place. We're gonna let Lori and Dodie.
I don't know though. If you get your hormones on track, you might be dancing around the kitchen or the house or who knows where.
Who knows what it is. All right, Dodie and Lori, give us some information and education that we need for today.
Welcome to Fast Track Fridays. I'm Dodie.
And I'm Laurie. And just a quick heads up before we dive in, and we say this every week, we are not doctors. We're not trying to be doctors. We are just 2 really kind of curious midlife women, and we have been blindsided by enough symptoms that we have started asking a lot of questions, and we are here to share them with you.
Yeah, like we can be annoying with our questions. So today's question is, why does Listerine feel like it's setting our mouths on fire?
Yeah, so we did a little bit of digging, and what we found was pretty wild. That little bottle on your bathroom sink, it's got a story, it's got a history, and it starts in a surgical ward and not in a dentist's office like you would think.
Right. Everybody thinks that. So here's the deal. Listerine was actually invented right here in St. Louis in the early 1800s. It wasn't for breath. It wasn't for our mouth at all. It was made to disinfect surgical wounds in a hospital.
It was named after Dr. Joseph Lister, and he was the pioneer of antiseptic surgery. And at the time, people were dying on the operating table from infections, and they were just starting to understand the importance of sterilizing their tools and their hands.
So Joseph Lawrence, a local chemist, created this powerful mix of alcohol, menthol, and essential oils, and it worked. But soon after, Listerine became the Swiss Army knife of medicine cabinets.
Yeah, over the next few decades, it was used for everything. Dandruff, foot fungus, floor cleaner, gonorrhea. I'm not even joking. You could buy a bottle and use it to scrub your toilet and to gargle, like a 2-in-1.
So disgusting. It wasn't until the 1920s that it was marketed for something called halitosis. We all do not want halitosis, which, by the way, was not even a real medical condition back then, until Listerine's marketing team made it a condition.
So basically, they created shame around bad breath so that they could sell you a solution. And that campaign quadrupled their sales and changed the way that companies would market to women and to humans forever.
Right. Look, we're not against mouthwash. We're not anti-mouthwash at all. But what's wild is how many of the products we grew up with, especially ones marketed toward women, didn't start out with us in mind.
Yeah, they started as chemical disinfectants or industrial solvents or wartime medications. And then someone slapped a self-care label on it and they put it in a pretty bottle and they sold it to us.
Right, which is always attractive to women. So when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and your hormones are shifting, your gut's more sensitive, your immune system's changing, and this stuff really starts to matter.
Yeah, it's important. And alcohol-based mouthwash, for example, can disrupt your oral microbiome. Your oral microbiome is like a little ecosystem that's in your mouth, and it supports your digestion and your immune function, and even nitric oxide production, which affects your blood pressure.
Right. Plus, it can cause dry mouth. It can cause irritation and even more bad breath long term. Talk about long-term halitosis. So that burning feeling, that's not freshness. It's your tissues reacting to high levels of ethanol.
Yikes.
Ethanol.
Yeah. So if you're using Listerine because that's what you've always done, maybe it's time to rethink that. There are cleaner alternatives out there, and you don't have to be loyal to something just because your mom or your dad or your grandma was, or because you saw a commercial.
Right. This is what Fast Track Friday is all about. It's tiny things we don't question until one day we do, and suddenly we realize we don't have to keep doing things that don't even serve us.
Yeah, and that's really what we're all about over at Shebang. Every single month, we send out a subscription box filled with clean, hormone-friendly products that are made specifically for midlife women. It's stuff that we've personally vetted and stuff that we actually use and we really love.
Yes, we love all these products that we're trying, but if you're tired of reading ingredient labels and Googling what's safe, we are doing the work for you. We're doing everything.
Yeah, so you can check us out at getshebang.com, or you can come hang with us on Instagram at shebangmenopause. That's where we talk all things hormones, midlife, personal power, being amazing women with zero shame and lots of real talk.
Right, so that's it for today's Fast Track Friday, and thanks for joining us.
Yep, see you then. See you next week.
See you next Friday.
Thanks, Dodie and Lori. Shebang has got it going on.
Yes, they always do.
Or maybe they help you get it going.
You know what I love too? They're always in a different room.
It's so cute. They're so much fun. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And another person we want to thank for sharing with us is Jennifer Williams at the St. Louis Closet Company. 35 years in business. I know you hear us talk about her all the time, and that's because she is absolutely amazing with what she does. It doesn't matter how small it is or how large it is. When it comes to custom storage systems, she's got it there for you. And I love to say after we had Matt on the show, when he talked about the people with the little bitty spaces, a lot of times people think they have to have this great big closet or great big room or mudroom or garage to do. And sometimes it's the smallest spaces that really need your attention because they take that small space and make it huge by adding to it. They are known for their design systems that are strong and durable, and they do everything right there on site at St. Louis Closet Co. You go there, you can actually watch them through the windows making your designs. Go in, take a look at all the designs that they have. They have some new rooms that they've just designed for you to be able to peek at, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. They will design to your needs, not their needs. So check out Jennifer Williams. And also, you know what? Besides loving Jennifer Williams, who we want to thank for being part of the show, we'd love you to continue to be part of the show by subscribing. Go to luinfo.com, go to the In Your City show and subscribe and be part of it. We're excited that a new app is just about to come out. So all you have to do is press on your phone, listen to the show from anywhere. And there's a lot of great shows all throughout the day that you can be a part of. And that's what we're about. We're about local. We're about St. Louis. It's the Lou Information Station, right? Right here. And we are the In Your City show. We consider us the hottest happy hour in STL because it's a place you can have your cocktail, mocktail, and just have some fun. We're not bringing you the news. We're not bringing you any political viewpoints. It's just about finding out where you can have a good time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be a little bit of a Debbie Downer, maybe.
We need fun. We need excitement.
We need people coming together.
Yes.
And that's what we are as community, because that's the best thing that can happen is when community comes together. That's when everything happens for the good.